Welcome, gentlemen. In today's world, navigating relationships can often feel like a maze. You meet someone who seems perfect, you're attracted and things progress, but suddenly you start noticing behaviors that leave you scratching your head. Is she genuinely interested in you, or is she playing you? Is she as invested in this connection as you are, or are you just another option in her life? If you've ever felt confused or unsure about where you stand, then you're not alone. The truth is, relationships can sometimes be complicated, and some people aren't always as transparent as they should be. In fact, many men find themselves stuck in situations where they can't tell if the woman they're involved with is being real or just playing mind games. And while every relationship is unique, there are certain behaviors that should raise red flags. These behaviors could be subtle, but they can have a huge impact on your emotional well-being. In this video, we'll walk through 10 signs that every man should look out for, because it's essential to recognize these patterns early on. Whether she's avoiding commitment, giving you mixed signals, or only reaching out when it's convenient for her, these clues can help you spot when you might be getting played. Understanding these signs will not only help you avoid unnecessary heartache, but also empower you to take control of your emotions, set boundaries, and ensure you're in a relationship that values you as much as you value it. So if you're ready to discover how to tell if she's playing you, make sure to watch until the end. Now, let's dive right into the 10 clues every man should watch for. Number 1. Lack of consistency in communication. One of the most telling signs that you might be getting played is inconsistency in communication. In the early stages of a relationship, communication plays a critical role in developing a strong connection. It's how you both learn about each other, share thoughts, and build emotional intimacy. However, when communication becomes erratic, you start to question the other person's true intentions. This lack of consistency can manifest in various ways, each indicating that she may not be fully invested, or might even be playing games with your emotions. At the start, she might seem extremely interested. Texts come quickly, phone calls happen regularly, and there's a consistent effort to keep the conversation flowing. You may even feel a sense of excitement when you see her name pop up on your phone screen. But then, without warning, everything shifts. She stops responding to texts as quickly as she used to, or sometimes she doesn't reply at all for hours or even days. When she does respond, it might feel like her answers are short, distracted, or vague. At other times, she could reach out with a sudden flurry of messages, only to go silent again. These extreme fluctuations in her communication habits can leave you confused and unsure of where you stand. This inconsistency can also show up in the timing of the texts or calls. One day, she might text you first thing in the morning, making you feel important and wanted. But the next day, she might wait until late at night, or worse, go radio silent for an extended period. It's these ups and downs that can make you feel like you're on an emotional roller coaster, never knowing whether she's genuinely interested or simply testing how much you'll chase her. Another form of inconsistent communication is when she only reaches out when it's convenient for her. You might find that she contacts you during moments when she needs something, attention, validation, or emotional support, but disappears when you're trying to connect. It's a clear sign that she may only be seeking your presence when it serves her needs, and this lack of reciprocity in communication is a major red flag. In a healthy relationship, both individuals make a conscious effort to stay in touch, even if it's just a quick message to check in. However, when communication is only initiated from one side, it can leave you feeling unappreciated and emotionally drained. Moreover, when a woman plays hot and cold with communication, it can also be an indication that she is keeping her options open. If she's not committing to you emotionally or physically, She might not prioritize your conversations, especially if she's talking to other people at the same time. The lack of consistent communication can stem from her reluctance to form a deeper bond, as she may be deliberately maintaining emotional distance to avoid getting too attached. In this scenario, you're essentially kept in limbo, unsure of her true feelings, while she continues to move through life without fully letting you in. This kind of inconsistency can make you second-guess yourself. You may start wondering if you've done something wrong, or whether she's lost interest. But when the next round of communication comes, it feels as if nothing has changed. These cycles can keep you hooked, constantly seeking that next high from her messages or attention. You may even start to rationalize the behavior, thinking that maybe she's just busy or having a bad day. But the truth is, if her actions don't align with her words, and if communication continues to feel like a game, it might be a sign that she's simply not as invested as you are. So, how do you handle this? The first step is to pay attention to your feelings. Are you constantly wondering where you stand? Are you putting in all the effort while she barely acknowledges your attempts? If so, it's time to reassess the situation. Healthy relationships are built on mutual communication, trust, and consistency. If she's not meeting you halfway, it might be time to pull back and focus on someone who values your time and attention. Remember, emotional investment should be a two-way street, and if you're not receiving the same energy in return, you may be getting played. If you find yourself in this kind of situation, it's essential to set boundaries. Don't be afraid to communicate openly about how her lack of consistency makes you feel. In some cases, she might not even realize the impact of her actions, but it's up to you to make sure your emotional well-being is respected. If she values you, she will put in the effort to maintain steady communication and build a connection that feels real. If not, it might be time to move on and invest your time and energy into someone who shows you the same level of consistency and care. In the end, clear and consistent communication is one of the most fundamental components of any successful relationship. If you're not getting that, then it's time to stop chasing and start protecting your own emotional health. Number 2. She only reaches out when she needs something. One of the most frustrating behaviors to notice in a relationship is when someone only contacts you when they need something. This could range from asking for emotional support, borrowing money, seeking attention, or needing a favor. If you find that she's constantly reaching out during her times of need but goes quiet when everything is fine, it's a major red flag that she might be using you rather than investing in the relationship. This behavior can leave you feeling taken for granted and emotionally drained, as you're constantly there to give, but rarely receive the same level of care or effort in return. At first, you may not even notice the pattern. It could seem innocent enough. After all, everyone has moments when they need support, advice, or a helping hand. But over time, you'll start to notice that these moments of connection are always tied to her wanting something from you. She might text you when she's having a bad day, but then disappear when she's feeling great, leaving you wondering if she's truly interested in you as a person, or if she's simply using you as a source of comfort or convenience. If the only time she reaches out is when she's emotionally distressed, or when she needs help with something, it can feel like you're just a tool for her to use rather than an equal partner in the relationship. The behavior might seem subtle at first. Perhaps she calls you when she's had a bad day at work and needs someone to vent to. Maybe she texts you when she's lonely or feeling down, asking for emotional support or comfort. While it's normal to lean on someone during difficult times, the problem arises when this pattern becomes one-sided. You'll notice that your emotional investment is never reciprocated. When you're facing your own struggles or need someone to talk to, she's nowhere to be found. Her attention shifts entirely away from you once she's gotten what she needed, leaving you feeling emotionally neglected. Another aspect of this behavior could be her only contacting you when she wants something material, whether it's financial help, asking you to run errands, or needing you to do favors. You might notice that she never takes the initiative to offer anything in return, whether it's helping you out, showing appreciation, or even just asking how your day went. This is a classic example of someone who's only interested in you when it benefits her. She may use your kindness and willingness to help as a way to keep you hooked while never giving back in a meaningful way. It's not uncommon for someone who behaves like this to take advantage of your generosity, knowing that you'll always be there when she asks, but never offering the same support when the tables are turned. This kind of behavior can be emotionally exhausting. You may start to feel like you're just being used for your time, energy, or resources. When you realize that the relationship is only one-sided, it can create feelings of frustration and resentment. It's especially damaging because it can lead you to question your worth and wonder why she only seems to care when she needs something. Over time, this can erode your self-esteem and make you feel as though you're expendable, only useful when she's in need, but irrelevant when she's not. A key aspect of a healthy relationship is reciprocity. A relationship should not feel like a transaction where one person is constantly giving while the other is always taking. If you're always the one putting in the effort, reaching out and offering help, while she only contacts you when it's convenient for her, it's a clear sign that she's not fully invested in the connection. Relationships thrive on mutual care, attention, and support, and if she's not offering those things in return, then it's time to reassess your role in the relationship. When you notice that she only reaches out when she needs something, it's important to step back and assess the situation. Ask yourself if this pattern is something you're comfortable with or if it's affecting your emotional health. It might be tempting to continue helping because you care about her, but it's essential to recognize when your efforts are being taken for granted. This kind of behavior often reveals a lack of genuine emotional investment and respect. It's important to value yourself and your time and not allow someone to use you without offering anything meaningful in return. Number 3. Emotional manipulation. Emotional manipulation is a deeply harmful tactic used to control or influence someone's emotions for personal gain, often without regard for their feelings or well-being. In a relationship, when a woman engages in emotional manipulation, it can create an environment of confusion, self-doubt, and emotional turmoil. Manipulation often involves subtle tactics such as guilt-tripping, playing the victim, or using your insecurities against you to get what she wants. Rather than fostering a healthy dynamic of mutual respect and communication, emotional manipulation distorts the relationship, turning it into a power struggle where one person constantly tries to maintain control over the other. One of the most common forms of emotional manipulation is guilt-tripping. A woman may subtly or overtly make you feel responsible for her happiness, using phrases like, "If you really cared about me, you would do this for me," or "I can't believe you would let me down like this." These statements can make you feel guilty for not meeting her expectations, even if they're unreasonable or unfair. Over time, this can erode your sense of self-worth, making you feel like you're constantly falling short and that your needs and desires are secondary to hers. This emotional burden can be incredibly draining, as you may find yourself always second-guessing your actions or trying to appease her to avoid conflict or disappointment. Another manipulative tactic is playing the victim. In these cases, she may position herself as the one who is always suffering, regardless of the circumstances, and make you feel like you are responsible for her emotional well-being. She might exaggerate her problems or create situations where she portrays herself as helpless, eliciting sympathy or making you feel obligated to step in and save her. This form of manipulation keeps the power dynamic unbalanced, with you constantly trying to fix things or make her happy, while she avoids taking responsibility for her own emotions and actions. Emotional manipulation can also involve gaslighting, where she makes you question your own reality. For example, she might deny things she said or did, making you feel like you're imagining problems that don't exist. Over time, this can lead to self-doubt and confusion as you begin to question your perception of the situation. The goal is to undermine your confidence and make you more dependent on her version of events or reality, leaving you in a state of uncertainty. Manipulation can also manifest in more passive ways, such as withholding affection or playing hot and cold with you. One minute, she might shower you with love and attention, and the next, she's distant or indifferent, keeping you on edge and unsure of where you stand. This emotional inconsistency can cause confusion and anxiety, as you never know what to expect or how to make her happy. Ultimately, emotional manipulation in a relationship is a sign of an unhealthy dynamic where one person seeks to control and dominate the other. It creates an environment where you are constantly walking on eggshells, afraid to speak your mind or stand up for yourself because of the emotional consequences. If you begin to feel like you're being manipulated or that your feelings are constantly being invalidated, it's crucial to recognize this behavior and address it. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, understanding, and emotional support, not on tactics designed to control or manipulate. Number 4. She keeps you at a distance. When a woman keeps you at a distance, emotionally or physically, it can be a major red flag, indicating that she may not be fully invested in the relationship. Emotional distance is often subtle but very telling. It manifests as a lack of intimacy, communication, or openness. While it's natural for individuals to need their personal space, when a woman continuously maintains this emotional distance, it can signal that she's either not ready to commit or is intentionally keeping you from getting too close. This kind of behavior can leave you feeling confused, frustrated, and uncertain about where you stand in her life. A key aspect of building a meaningful connection is emotional intimacy. When she keeps you at a distance, she may avoid sharing her feelings, experiences, or personal thoughts, which can make it difficult to truly understand her or bond on a deeper level. She might be reluctant to open up about her past, her fears, or her desires, leaving you to feel like you're on the outside of her emotional world. In healthy relationships, both partners are open with one another, expressing vulnerability and working together to build trust. However, if she consistently puts up emotional walls, it can create a barrier that keeps you from forming a genuine connection. In some cases, keeping you at a distance may involve physical separation, such as avoiding spending quality time together or not prioritizing your presence in her life. If she cancels plans frequently, isn't eager to make time for you, or consistently puts other commitments before your relationship, it may suggest that she's not making you a priority. Physical distance can be just as damaging as emotional distance, as it limits the opportunities for connection, affection, and bonding that are necessary for a healthy relationship. You might find yourself constantly waiting for her to make the effort, leaving you feeling undervalued and disconnected. Another form of distance comes from her reluctance to define the relationship or make any future plans together. When a woman keeps you at a distance, she might avoid labeling the relationship or discussing long-term goals. She may be hesitant to include you in her future or may not express any interest in making the relationship more serious. This lack of commitment can leave you in a state of limbo, wondering where you stand and whether she sees you as more than just a temporary connection. Keeping you at a distance can also be a form of emotional protection. She may be afraid of getting hurt or vulnerable, especially if she has experienced emotional pain in the past. In such cases, her behavior may not necessarily be a reflection of her lack of interest in you, but rather a defense mechanism to prevent herself from getting too attached. However, this doesn't excuse the behavior, and it's important to recognize the signs so that you can address the issue in a healthy way. Communication is key. If you feel that she is emotionally distancing herself, it's important to have an open and honest conversation about your concerns. If she's unwilling to engage in this conversation or continues to keep you at arm's length, it might be an indication that she's not ready or willing to invest in a deeper connection. Ultimately, being kept at a distance in a relationship can be emotionally exhausting and disheartening. It's essential to evaluate whether this dynamic aligns with your needs and desires for the relationship. Healthy relationships are built on trust, closeness, and shared experiences, not on constant emotional or physical separation. If you feel that a woman is keeping you at a distance, it's important to reflect on whether this behavior is temporary or a sign of a deeper issue within the relationship. Number 5. You're always the one initiating. When you're always the one initiating contact or making plans in a relationship, it's a clear indication that the effort and investment are not equally shared. Healthy relationships thrive on mutual effort, where both individuals contribute to maintaining connection, communication, and emotional intimacy. If you find yourself constantly the one texting first, calling to check in, or suggesting plans to spend time together, it can be frustrating and leave you questioning the level of interest or commitment the other person has in the relationship. It may signal that the woman you're involved with isn't as invested in making the relationship work, or might be taking you for granted. This dynamic creates an imbalance where one partner feels like they're giving more than they're receiving, which can lead to feelings of neglect and emotional exhaustion. It can be disheartening to always feel like you're the one making the effort to keep the connection alive, while the other person seems to passively go along with things. In any relationship, both people should actively participate in creating meaningful interactions, whether through communication, planning dates, or showing affection. If this effort isn't reciprocated, it can make you feel undervalued or unimportant. When only one person is initiating, it can also lead to uncertainty about the other person's intentions. If she isn't actively reaching out to you, it might make you wonder if she's truly interested in building something meaningful, or if she's simply keeping you around as an option. You may begin to second-guess yourself, wondering if you're doing something wrong or if the relationship is one-sided. Constantly taking the initiative can make you feel like you're chasing after someone who isn't equally motivated to make the relationship a priority. This can create a sense of insecurity, leaving you unsure of where you stand and whether you can rely on her to show the same level of commitment. Moreover, when you're always the one initiating, you're often setting the tone for the relationship. You're the one making decisions about when to talk, what to talk about, and how often to meet. This can lead to a lack of balance, as the other person may not be as invested in the relationship's direction. Over time, this can create emotional distance, as it may feel like the woman isn't taking an active role in co-creating the relationship. Relationships should be a two-way street, with both individuals contributing to decisions and actions that move the relationship forward. When only one person is leading, it can make the relationship feel more like a task than a mutual connection. This one-sided effort can also be a sign that the other person is not emotionally available or doesn't value you enough to make the effort. They might be distracted by other priorities, unsure of their feelings, or simply not ready to invest in a deeper commitment. While it's important to understand that everyone has different communication styles, if the lack of effort persists, it's a sign that something deeper may be going on. If you're constantly putting in the work and not seeing the same level of involvement in return, It's worth having an open conversation to express your concerns and establish whether your expectations align with hers. Ultimately, a relationship should feel like a shared partnership, where both individuals are equally committed to maintaining a healthy and fulfilling connection. If you're always the one initiating, it's a sign that the relationship may be out of balance, and it's important to assess whether this dynamic is working for you or if it's causing unnecessary emotional strain. Number 6. She complains about other men. When a woman frequently complains about other men, whether it's about their behavior, their treatment of her, or general dissatisfaction with the men in her life, it can be an indication of several things in the context of your relationship. At first glance, it might seem like harmless venting, but repeated complaints can signal deeper issues that might be affecting her emotional state or her perception of you. One key factor to consider is whether these complaints are a way to indirectly express unmet expectations or desires within the relationship. By constantly comparing you to other men, whether subtly or overtly, she might be testing your reactions or highlighting things she feels are lacking in her connection with you. One possibility is that she is using her complaints to gauge your emotional response or to test your feelings toward her. If she consistently mentions how other men treat her poorly or don't meet her expectations, she could be subtly seeking reassurance or validation from you, hoping for a response that reflects your care or commitment. In this case, her complaints may not be about the men themselves, but rather about her need for attention or affirmation within the relationship. However, this dynamic can create an imbalance, as it puts you in the position of constantly having to reassure her, rather than fostering a relationship built on open communication and mutual understanding. Another aspect to consider is whether her complaints are a reflection of her dissatisfaction with her own situation, rather than a direct criticism of the men around her. If she is frequently venting about how other men fail to meet her needs, it might indicate a deeper discontent with her own emotional or relational life. In such cases, these complaints can be a form of emotional projection, where she channels her frustrations onto others rather than addressing the root causes of her dissatisfaction. If this is the case, it can be challenging to navigate the relationship, as it requires a great deal of patience and understanding to help her address underlying emotional issues. However, a more concerning interpretation of her constant complaints about other men is that it may be a tactic to subtly manipulate you or diminish your sense of self-worth. By repeatedly pointing out the faults or flaws of other men, she could be trying to make you feel like you're the only one who could meet her needs, creating a false sense of competition or urgency. This could lead to feelings of insecurity, where you feel like you must constantly prove yourself to her in comparison to other men, even if no such competition is necessary. In this scenario, her complaints become a form of psychological manipulation that keeps you on edge and eager to meet her expectations, rather than fostering genuine communication and mutual respect. In some cases, her complaints about other men may reflect her own insecurities or past experiences with men that she has yet to fully process. If she has been hurt or disappointed by past relationships, she may project those feelings onto the current relationship, constantly reminding you of the mistakes others have made. While this is understandable to some degree, it's important to recognize when this pattern becomes detrimental to the relationship. If she is constantly comparing you to other men or using her past experiences as a yardstick for your behavior, it can prevent the relationship from developing independently of her past hurts. Number 7. She gives mixed signals. When a woman gives mixed signals, it can create a sense of confusion and emotional turmoil, leaving you uncertain about where you stand in the relationship. Mixed signals occur when her actions contradict her words, or when she fluctuates between being warm and distant, affectionate and cold. This inconsistency can be especially challenging because it forces you to second-guess her feelings and intentions. You might feel like you're walking on eggshells, constantly trying to decipher what she truly wants or where her emotional state lies. One moment, she may express interest and closeness, and the next, she may become distant or disengaged, leaving you wondering if she's truly invested in the relationship or if she's simply playing games. One reason behind mixed signals could be that she is unsure of her own feelings. She may be struggling with confusion about what she wants from the relationship, or she might not be ready to commit but doesn't want to hurt your feelings by being completely honest. This can lead to a situation where she shows interest when it's convenient for her, but pulls away when she feels overwhelmed or unsure. She might seek reassurance or validation from you, but isn't willing to invest the same level of emotional energy in return. As a result, her actions may be inconsistent. One minute, she's sending you texts that suggest she cares, and the next, she's not responding or avoiding deeper conversations. This lack of clarity can make it difficult for you to gauge her true feelings and can cause you to feel uncertain about the relationship's future. Mixed signals can also arise if she is not emotionally available or is emotionally guarded. She may have past experiences or emotional baggage that make it difficult for her to fully open up and invest in a relationship. As a defense mechanism, she may put up walls and send you contradictory signals. For example, she might enjoy spending time with you and sharing moments of closeness. But when it comes to taking the relationship to the next level, she pulls back and becomes distant. This could be a sign that she wants intimacy, but is afraid of vulnerability or getting hurt again. Her mixed signals could be an indication that she's not ready to fully engage emotionally, but she also doesn't want to lose the connection with you. In some cases, giving mixed signals could be a sign of emotional manipulation. She might be intentionally creating confusion to keep you on edge, making you work harder for her attention and affection. By keeping you guessing about her true intentions, she might enjoy the power dynamics in the relationship, knowing that you'll constantly be seeking her approval or trying to figure her out. This type of behavior can be emotionally draining, as it forces you to constantly analyze her words and actions, trying to decipher what she really means. Over time, this can lead to feelings of frustration, insecurity, and self-doubt, as you're left wondering whether her interest is genuine or if she's simply playing with your emotions. Mixed signals may also be a sign of a lack of clarity on what she wants from the relationship. If she's not clear about her own goals or desires, her behavior can shift back and forth between being affectionate and distant. She might be enjoying the attention and companionship, but is hesitant to commit because she's not sure if you're the right fit for her in the long term. This indecision can leave you in a constant state of uncertainty, unsure of where the relationship stands or what your role is in her life. Regardless of the reason behind the mixed signals, it's essential to communicate openly and directly to understand her intentions and to address the confusion. If the mixed signals persist and you find yourself constantly questioning her feelings or intentions, it may be worth re-evaluating the relationship. Clear and honest communication is key to building trust and understanding in any relationship, and if that's lacking, it can lead to frustration, confusion, and emotional distress. It's important to recognize when the mixed signals are causing more harm than good, and to consider whether the relationship is serving your emotional needs in a healthy way. Number 8. She avoids labeling the relationship. When a woman avoids labeling the relationship, it can be a sign that she is either unsure about her feelings or unwilling to commit to defining the connection you share. Relationships naturally progress through stages, and one of the key milestones is defining the relationship and establishing what both partners want from it. When she consistently avoids labeling the relationship, It can create confusion and insecurity, leaving you wondering where you stand and whether you are on the same page. The reluctance to label the relationship can manifest in many ways. She may avoid talking about the future, steer clear of discussing exclusivity, or refuse to put a title on your connection, such as dating or in a relationship. This behavior often indicates a level of emotional uncertainty or reluctance to fully invest in the relationship, as it prevents her from taking the next step in defining what you two share. One reason for avoiding labels could be that she is unsure of her own feelings and is hesitant to commit to something serious. She might enjoy spending time with you, but doesn't feel ready to fully invest in the relationship, perhaps due to fears of emotional vulnerability, past experiences, or simply not being sure if you are the right match. By avoiding the conversation about what the relationship means, she can keep her options open, allowing her to maintain a level of emotional distance and avoid the pressure that comes with labeling. This can leave you feeling like you're in a state of limbo, where you're not quite sure whether the relationship is casual or heading towards something deeper. Another possibility is that she may be emotionally unavailable or afraid of the commitment that comes with defining the relationship. If she has been hurt in the past or is dealing with personal baggage, the idea of labeling the relationship might feel like a potential risk. She may enjoy the connection and appreciate your attention, but the thought of attaching a label may trigger fears of rejection or abandonment. By avoiding labels, she can protect herself from potential hurt and maintain a sense of control over her emotions. This lack of clarity can cause frustration for you, as you may be looking for reassurance about where you stand and whether she is truly invested in building a future with you. In some cases, the avoidance of labeling the relationship can also indicate that she is not as committed or serious about the relationship as you might be. She may be keeping you around as a placeholder or enjoying the benefits of the relationship without being fully committed. This can happen when someone wants the companionship, emotional support, or validation that comes from being in a relationship, but isn't ready or willing to invest in the effort and responsibility that comes with an official label. It can feel like a one-sided relationship, where one partner is more invested than the other, and it creates an imbalance that can leave you questioning your role in her life. There's also the possibility that she is seeing other people or keeping her options open, which is why she's hesitant to define the relationship. By avoiding labeling it, she doesn't have to answer questions about exclusivity or loyalty. This can be particularly challenging if you're looking for commitment and she's not interested in tying herself down to one person. It can leave you feeling like you're in a relationship with no clear boundaries, where your emotional investment is not being reciprocated with the same level of seriousness. Ultimately, when a woman avoids labeling the relationship, it's important to recognize the impact it has on your emotional well-being. The lack of clarity can create uncertainty and frustration, making it difficult to know where you stand and whether you're both working toward the same goals. If you find yourself in this situation, it's essential to have an open and honest conversation with her about your feelings and what you both want from the relationship. Communication is key to understanding each other's needs and expectations, and it's important to address any concerns you have about the lack of commitment or definition. If she continues to avoid labeling the relationship despite clear discussions, it may be time to reassess whether this connection is fulfilling your emotional needs or if it's holding you back from finding something more secure and stable. Number 9. She only seeks attention, not affection. When a woman is primarily seeking attention rather than genuine affection, it can be one of the clearest signs that she's not emotionally invested in the relationship in the way you might hope or expect. Attention-seeking behavior often revolves around a desire for validation, admiration, or affirmation, but it lacks the deeper emotional connection that characterizes affection. Attention is often superficial. It's about the momentary satisfaction of being noticed, desired, or admired. Affection, on the other hand, is rooted in emotional intimacy, care, and genuine regard for someone's well-being. When a woman only seeks attention, she might engage in behaviors that make her feel validated, but she won't necessarily reciprocate the emotional depth or investment that is needed to build a meaningful, lasting connection. A common sign of attention-seeking behavior is when she constantly looks for reassurance or affirmation from you or others. She may frequently fish for compliments, ask for attention, or seek validation about her appearance, her actions, or her choices. This behavior can be subtle, like a casual remark about her outfit, or more obvious, like overtly posting photos on social media and awaiting responses. While it's natural for everyone to want validation from time to time, a woman who consistently seeks attention without giving much emotional investment back might be doing so for the purpose of boosting her ego rather than building a real emotional connection with you. Her need for attention becomes a form of external affirmation that fuels her self-esteem, but it leaves little room for real affection or mutual emotional support. Additionally, a woman who only seeks attention might focus heavily on how she is perceived rather than on the relationship itself. She may engage in behavior that makes her the center of attention, such as dressing provocatively, telling exaggerated stories, or participating in drama. This behavior often serves as a way for her to remain in the spotlight, ensuring that people are constantly aware of her presence and eager to please or cater to her needs. While this can be entertaining or flattering in the short term, it becomes apparent that she's more interested in maintaining her status as the focal point of attention rather than building genuine affection or closeness with you. This constant need for external validation can leave you feeling as though you're playing a role in her ongoing performance rather than participating in an emotionally fulfilling partnership. Moreover, when attention is the primary goal, it often overshadows the deeper emotional aspects of affection. For instance, she might show interest in your life, but only as a way of keeping the conversation about herself. She may ask about your day or your thoughts, but only to steer the focus back onto her own experiences. While a genuinely affectionate person is eager to learn about your life, your struggles, and your victories, a person focused on attention may turn every conversation into a reflection of her own needs and desires. Her attention is fleeting and self-serving, rather than rooted in a genuine desire to connect emotionally and provide support. This one-sided dynamic can leave you feeling emotionally unfulfilled, as you might begin to notice that her interest in you is often superficial, designed more for her own gain than for the well-being of the relationship. When a woman seeks only attention, she may also be less likely to provide emotional support when you need it. She may be content to receive care and affection from you, but when the roles are reversed and it's time for her to reciprocate, she might pull away or seem uninterested. This lack of emotional reciprocity is a significant red flag that she is not looking to build a true partnership. In relationships, affection goes both ways. Each person gives and receives emotional support, intimacy, and care. If you're constantly giving affection without receiving the same level of care in return, it becomes clear that her interest lies more in your attention and validation than in forming a meaningful, balanced emotional connection. This attention-seeking behavior can also manifest in an inability to prioritize or invest in the relationship for the long term. If her main focus is on how you perceive her in the moment, she may resist deeper conversations about the future or the direction of the relationship. When it's time to discuss commitment, exclusivity, or serious emotional investment, she might divert the conversation back to herself or become uncomfortable. This resistance to engaging in meaningful relationship discussions can be a sign that her emotional availability is limited, as she is more concerned with receiving immediate attention than with forging a deeper connection that requires ongoing effort and vulnerability. Another sign that she seeks attention rather than affection is when she enjoys the thrill of flirting, but doesn't want to take the next step into emotional intimacy. She might flirt with you, give you attention, and keep things light-hearted. But when it comes time for the relationship to progress into something more substantial, she may pull back or seem uninterested. The excitement of attention, without the commitment or responsibility of affection, is often all she craves. Flirting and playful behavior can be a fun way to feel desired, but when these actions don't translate into deeper emotional bonding or real connection, they can leave you feeling like you're stuck in an endless cycle of chasing attention rather than building something real. Social media plays a huge role in the attention-seeking behavior of some women. If she's constantly posting pictures, seeking likes, and updating her status in ways that draw attention to herself, but she's not as engaged in personal conversations or showing a genuine interest in your life, it's a clear sign that she values external validation more than real affection. Her focus is more on cultivating an image of herself that garners attention, rather than on nurturing a meaningful emotional relationship with you. She may seem to thrive on social media interactions, but when it comes to connecting one-on-one, she may lack the depth and emotional investment that are essential for affection. If you recognize these patterns in your relationship, it's important to take a step back and assess your emotional needs. Are you seeking a relationship built on mutual affection, emotional intimacy, and deep connection? Or are you content with being the source of someone else's validation, while your own emotional needs go unmet? While attention-seeking behavior may initially seem flattering or exciting, it can quickly become exhausting and unsatisfying if it lacks genuine affection and care. Understanding the difference between attention and affection is key to recognizing whether a relationship is fulfilling or simply a source of emotional manipulation and superficial connection. Number 10. She's secretive about her life. When a woman is secretive about her life, it can be a major red flag that she is either not fully invested in the relationship or is intentionally keeping emotional distance for reasons that may not be immediately obvious. In any meaningful relationship, transparency and open communication are essential for building trust, intimacy, and understanding. However, when she consistently withholds information about her life, whether it's her past, her current experiences, or her future plans, it can indicate that she's not comfortable being vulnerable or is actively avoiding deeper emotional engagement. While everyone has personal boundaries and may choose to keep certain details private, a pattern of secrecy that feels deliberate can create a sense of emotional distance and leave you questioning where you truly stand in her life. One of the main reasons she might be secretive is that she's emotionally unavailable. Emotional availability is the foundation of any strong relationship, and when someone is unwilling to share details about their life, it often signals that they are not ready or willing to invest emotionally. She may enjoy spending time with you and may seem interested in the relationship, but her reluctance to open up can create an invisible wall between you both. If she's not sharing her thoughts, feelings, or experiences, it's difficult for you to truly understand who she is and what she values. This lack of transparency can make it challenging to develop a real emotional connection, as you're left with fragments of information rather than a complete picture of her personality, her goals, and her inner world. Another reason a woman might be secretive is that she's hiding something from her past that she's not ready to confront or share. This could range from a painful breakup, family issues, or personal experiences that she feels embarrassed or ashamed of. While it's completely normal for someone to need time to process certain events in their life, A pattern of secrecy may suggest that she's avoiding the vulnerability necessary to address these issues. In relationships, emotional honesty is essential for creating a safe space where both partners feel supported and understood. However, when one person withholds important details about their life, it creates an imbalance in the relationship where the other person is left in the dark. This can lead to feelings of confusion, frustration, and a growing sense of doubt about the authenticity of the connection. Secrecy can also arise when a woman is actively keeping other romantic or personal options open. If she's involved in multiple relationships or pursuing other interests while engaging with you, she might choose to keep parts of her life hidden to avoid creating conflict or awkwardness. By withholding information about her other interactions, she can maintain control over the situation and keep you invested while keeping her options open. This behavior is often seen in situations where one partner is emotionally attached, while the other person is not yet fully committed and is using secrecy as a way to keep their autonomy intact. If she's not willing to be transparent about her intentions or the other people in her life, it can leave you feeling like you're just one of many possibilities rather than someone she's genuinely interested in. In some cases, a woman may be secretive because she's afraid of being judged or misunderstood. If she has experienced criticism or rejection in the past, she might be hesitant to reveal certain aspects of her life, fearing that it will lead to disapproval. This can be especially true if she's had a history of difficult relationships or negative experiences that have shaped her outlook on vulnerability. While it's important to respect her personal boundaries, an ongoing pattern of secrecy can prevent the relationship from deepening. It's difficult to build intimacy if one person is constantly holding back, as it prevents both partners from fully understanding each other's needs, desires, and fears. If she's unwilling to share her life with you, it's possible that she's not yet ready to let someone in, which can leave you feeling emotionally disconnected. A secretive attitude can also be a tactic used to create intrigue and maintain control within the relationship. Some women may deliberately withhold information or act mysterious to keep you chasing after them. This behavior can be a form of emotional manipulation, where she keeps you guessing and uncertain, creating a sense of longing or need. By being elusive, she can keep you engaged, as you may feel the desire to figure her out or break down the walls she's built around her personal life. This creates a dynamic where you're emotionally invested in uncovering her secrets, rather than in building a healthy, open relationship based on mutual trust and communication. Over time, this can become frustrating as the relationship feels more like a puzzle to solve than a partnership to nurture. Additionally, her secretive nature might indicate that she's not looking for a serious long-term relationship. Some people prefer to keep things light and casual, without the expectation of full emotional transparency. If she's not sharing details about her life, it could be because she's not ready to make you a priority or doesn't see a future with you. In such situations, she may enjoy the companionship but is unwilling to fully invest in the relationship, preferring to keep her personal life separate. This approach can make it difficult for you to understand her true intentions and can lead to a sense of emotional disconnect, as you may be seeking more commitment and clarity than she's willing to offer. In any healthy relationship, there needs to be a sense of emotional openness and trust. If a woman is consistently secretive about her life, it's important to reflect on whether this behavior aligns with your own emotional needs. Are you seeking a partner who is willing to share their life, experiences, and emotions with you? Or are you comfortable with a more distant connection? If her secrecy leaves you feeling confused, neglected, or emotionally disconnected, it may be time to have an open conversation about the importance of transparency in the relationship. Healthy relationships thrive on mutual respect, understanding, and emotional availability. Without these elements, secrecy can create a barrier that prevents the relationship from flourishing. While it's normal for someone to have personal boundaries and to withhold information until they feel comfortable, a constant pattern of secrecy can be a sign that the relationship is not progressing in a healthy or fulfilling way.